Hey guys, um, quick tutorial on bottom bashing rigs. This is what I've been making up when I go out and hit the reef. I normally would make up, I don't know, like 10 pre-made rigs and just have them in a little container in the boat. So if I do get busted off or, messed up, I can retie one knot and just be straight back down and into it. A couple of things to keep in mind with these sort of rigs is how big or how long the sort of weights you're using, and also your hooks, because you technically, like, they're all interchangeable. You're pretty much tying a knot, and the only thing you got to make sure is, like, on the bottom, the length of the knot, because the knot, in a way of saying, you want to be able to have enough length so that when you feed it through before the knot hits the end of it, you can get it around your sinker, and that way it's interchangeable. So I hope that makes sense. But I'll demonstrate now and show you what I really mean. Normally you'd sort of figure out the length. You normally have I normally go the sinker, obviously at the bottom, and I'd do like at least half a meter, probably up to a meter, depending on what the terrain is like. Before I'd have my hook set up for my bait. I use this rig, or this style of rig, pretty much as soon as I'm in 15 meters of water or more. I find most of the other rigs, they'll tangle, so it's just a better presentation, in my opinion, to have the weight under the bait. But I'd normally start, like a good finger span apart, with my line doubled up on top of my finger. I then would make a loop like so and feed through it 3 times. You can get away with 2, but my personal preference is 3. I then would adjust it, obviously trying to keep more of that length as it's required, like so. You'd then wet down the knot before you put your pressure on it to close it up. But just for demonstration purpose, I'm not going to. So once you put pressure, open it up a little bit as well, and like that, it's all cinched off. And then this way, I can quite easily change the weight as required. If you find a spot where it's not as deep, you don't need as much weight, or a low, you don't, it's not required, less weight's always better. And then that way it's interchangeable at your base there. The next part, there is like a dropper rig, but I'd pull out, probably at least half a meter. You want to have your bait a bit above that bottom bit, but obviously my idea behind it is if it's higher, the fish still come up out of the structure, you've got a better chance of getting them out. So set like a distance that you're comfortable with. I can't really tell you how to fish if you're fishing a different environment or different location to me, because it's not relevant. And just the same thing, figure out the length. I'd probably go 3 fingers, a little bit shorter, because you've got to think your hook length, obviously, and then you've also got to think, like, you don't want it really long and moving in the current, so having this a bit smaller is always a bit better. Just the same thing, and just 3 loops through. And then the same thing, get that knot to really tie up on itself, wet it, cinch it all down, just open it a little bit just to make sure. And then you just, I'd probably do the same sort of thing above this knot. You could tie it to a swivel if you prefer. I don't personally use swivels. I just tie another knot straight to the line. And then all you're doing for your hook, you can run more than one bait. Personally, I don't. But that's just me. If you want to run doubles, you can. And that's pretty much all you're doing, is feeding the hook on like that. And then run your bait, and then you run. So all you're doing from there is running whatever length. It will will depend on your rod. I'd want at least the same sort of thing. I'd probably run a meter or two if I can above, and then tie it onto your braid or onto your line. But that's pretty much the basics of it. That's quite a simple, strong, and easy tie. I haven't really had much issues. The only sort of times it's failed is really when I've been bitten off. Even when I get snagged, I struggle to unsnag because is quite a very solid knot. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope that helped you out. Get out there and catch more fish.